Discordia is a mage that causes a lot of confusion and panic in the battleground. And the items that you choose to build are either going to make it so that you can one-shot your enemy, or they get away with 1 HP. So first and foremost, let's talk about how I like to build Discordia. First, I like to get the new item, Charon's Coin. That is the first item I like to build because the sooner you get that online, the sooner you can start stacking the passive, and the passive is very strong. After Coin, I like to get the new CDR boots because they're the only viable boot right now. And then finally, the core of my build ends with Divine Ruin. And I'm going to talk about why I like Divine Ruin so much once we get through the entire build. And after you're done in the core of the build, typically I like to finish up by building into Ethereal Staff, Chronos Pendant, and Soul Reaver, but that's going to depend on how the game goes. Now, if you find you won't be fighting enough early game and mid game for you to really stack up the Charon's Coin, then that's okay. Instead of rushing the coin, you can just simply rush into boots followed by Divine Ruin. Still follow the build pretty much the same way, but before you get Soul Reaver, just pick up Obsidian Shard. You'll be fine. Otherwise, a really good defensive option if you are struggling is you can build into Magi's Cloak. What it does is it basically gives you a free beads whenever someone uses crowd control on you, and it can really help you survive if you find that you're getting collapsed on and CC is destroying you. So that's the build that I like to run with. Now let's start talking about why. Discordia utilizes on-hit effects as well as anyone else. She does very well with them. And an example of an item like this is the Divine Ruin that we like to build. Every time someone gets hit by an ability, they get 40% reduced healing. This is very useful for us because even if there isn't a healer on the map, we can shut down any passive healing that they're doing just by casting our first ability. Even if we miss, the shards that shoot out from that ball usually hit 1 or 2 people, and that's going to apply the Divine Ruin proc. It also works on Soul Reaver, it also works on Ethereal Staff, and that's the reason I like building those items on Discordia so much. So now let's talk quickly about some tips and tricks before we dive into the tier list. Remember that Discordia's second ability is going to cause all gods hit to move towards its center, assuming that you can hit more than one. It's going to allow you to basically line up your first ability and your ultimate, assuming that you can get more than one god in that pretty generous rectangle. The only thing I'll be wary about and warn you about is that you do have to be pretty close to the enemies to get your damage off, so try to work behind your guardians and your warriors so that you're not going to be out of position and destroyed. And now it's time to put Discordia onto our tier list, and I personally think that Discordia is an above average god. Now, the reason for this is pretty much because the control that her second ability gives and the disruption that that second ability gives is honestly insane. I love that ability. Now, granted, she does have to approach the wave and enemy gods a little bit too much in order to compete with the likes of Kukulkan and other gods that we will talk about in future videos, but that being said, Discordia certainly isn't a bad pick. She's very team friendly, and I think she's a pretty okay character. That's all the time for this video. Like it if you did, subscribe if you're new, share this with a friend, and I will see you all in the next video. Have yourselves a casual day.